service. I met Will at TwilioCon. He came up to me and was like, yo, I just built this site in like 4 hours or something like that, something crazy.
Like a prototype.
Yeah. Using our API, and I was like, dude, I have to find a way for you to come and talk to some people, so I appreciate you coming out. But everybody say, welcome Will from Twilio.
Thank you. Well, first I want to thank Tavares for the invitation and the opportunity to come talk to you all. So, as I said, or as he said, I'm Will Mason. I work at Twilio as a senior software engineer. I'm on the user experience team, and although I hope most of you are familiar with Twilio, Twilio is a communication API for businesses to send SMSs, phone calls, and in-client phone calls. In browser. So, what I'm going to talk about today is how we handled support historically, kind of up until this project that Tavares is talking about, why we needed to go beyond that and really offer more for our customers, and which turned into a product that we call Premium Support, which I will get a little bit more into later, and kind of how we implemented this. So, last but not least, there will be some challenges faced because, as we all know in development, it's not always as easy as we think it is when we start a project. So, how we handled support historically was...
Oh, well.
You said that, of course.
Well. No capital D.
No capital D?
Yeah, it's all good, man.
Oh, I didn't get type checked. All right. Well, we use Zendesk. And... which is primarily email-based for our customers. Customers wanted to email support@twilio.com. That, of course, forwarded right into Zendesk. And some people would come to our site, and we had a web form that was the first integration with the old version of the API. And from the beginning, we had a system of triggers and webhooks. And the idea was that we would kind of collect all the data of the interactions that we had with our customers for having support later. So the reason this worked is in the beginning of Twilio, we generally had smaller customers. We had developers, startups, you name it, but most of them were on the smaller scale, and they were very happy with this kind of simple solution in the sense that we didn't need to build it ourselves. And that's the next point. We didn't have to build it in-house. We used Zendesk from the beginning, and it also allowed us to have a smaller team of customer service representatives, and while still providing like a full touch solution for the customers that did, contact us and needed help and so on. And if you have like a team of 3, which it started even smaller than that, you can still service a lot of customers if they're not tied up on the phone in like a call center or things like that, which just takes more time. This led to happy customers, and which in turn made us happy. So, why we needed to go beyond this. And this is kind of one of the key points, which was that we started getting bigger and bigger customers. As Twilio grew, our customer base grew, and the size of our customers grew. And when we got into enterprise, they want more, as they always do. Specifically, they wanted service level agreements. And so we thought, and we wondered, how would we provide this? And that's the birth of Premium Support. Previously, all of our support products were free. Or I shouldn't say products, all of our support was free. You use Twilio, support's always included. So, with Premium Support, we offered guaranteed response times. Although we had good response times in the past, there was no guarantees around it. And so, after hours and things like that, sometimes you'd have to wait a little bit if you were working at 2 in the morning and you ran into a problem. The other thing that we offered for the first time was phone support. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it was primarily email-based before. People would visit support.twilio.com, which was our Zendesk kind of portal, and use email support or our web form if people stumbled across our site and wanted support that way. But for the first time, we offered phone support. And the really important one was 24/7 emergency response. As we got into enterprise, and something I left off one of the previous slides is international customers, they don't sleep on the same schedule as us. So people want help around the clock. And so this is some of the built product of premium support. Now, one of the things we wanted from the beginning was it to be self-service. So this is a portion of the Twilio account portal. You can come in here, pick one of the various plans. As you can see, everybody starts on free, it costs nothing, and it comes with basic email support. As your needs step up, you can go all the way up to the 24/7 plan, which gives you that round-the-clock support and a pretty tight SLA. And in Twilio style, you can pay for this with a credit card, and it's pay as you go. You commit to a month, but nothing more. We don't believe in long contracts. We never have, and I don't believe we ever will. But it's kind of the no shenanigans way of doing things. So as a bonus, and this is the part that I think tripped Tavares out, was I built a ticketing interface inside the account portal, because why not? I have lots of extra time. Yeah, no. And so here's like a submit a new ticket interface, which then we had to have threading and commenting, and so as our customer service representatives respond in the Zendesk agent interface, they would show back up here. And then the customers can interact back. And last but not least, you have all your recent tickets. You will notice a lot of very similar subjects in there. This is my actual account, and I submit a lot of tickets, which keeps the customer service reps on their toes. But as you see all this, you wonder, well, you used Zendesk from the beginning, or you may wonder, so why would you kind of rebuild portions of Zendesk? And in some respects I did, but in the larger respect, I didn't. And our number one reason, besides it's a lot of work, was that our customer service reps love Zendesk. They just love it. So even if we were willing to take on the work as the engineers, there's no way they would have it. Like, we'd have to clone you guys verbatim. But, so to build this, use the version 2 of the API. And the reason that this was a big step forward in my mind and a lot of the other engineers on my team is, it kind of was the next phase, more mature, more restful in a way that we like, and I thought it was much better than version 1. But, so how we did that. I started by writing a PHP client to talk to the API. It's built on a library that we have internally called requests.php. If there are some Python developers in the audience, it is a port of the Python library requests. And it's basically a very, very simple curl wrapper. And me as a PHP developer, I don't like interacting with curl directly, so built it on top of this. The goals of the client from the beginning were just to be a simple wrapper around the API endpoints. And as you can see some here, there's not a whole lot of code, but this is the basics of sending a request. And in 2 or 3 lines below that, I can hit a specific endpoint, do a post, get, put, or delete, and get just a basic response back. And the last bit, the reason I wrote this so fast, and might have been that 3-hour time I told you about, Tavares, was that we only exposed the endpoints we needed. Obviously, there's a whole lot available in the version 2 API, but there's a small subset, maybe 20%, that we needed to build the account portal stuff and to support premium support. So one of the other things we had to do in doing this, besides just writing code and talking to the API, was come up with a data model. Now at Twilio, we have accounts and users. Accounts do things like own phone numbers, have credit cards, and is the main entity in Twilio that you also authenticate against the API with. Underneath that, you have users. Users are individuals like any of us in the audience, but really they are a bunch of login credentials. So then the last bit was the premium support, as you can see on the top, and that's attached at an account level. And it mapped very nicely over to Zendesk. Zendesk has users, so it's kind of a one-to-one to our users. I have organizations, and that's a one-to-one to our accounts. And then so we put the premium support information in a group, and kind of on a merry way. Another thing that we wanted to, or needed to do, in offering premium support is collect more analytics. So as I mentioned before, we had these triggers and webhooks, and literally when customers submit new tickets, or one of our agents responds to a ticket, or pretty much any change to the state of that ticket, we get a webhook to an endpoint that we're listening on from Zendesk, and we log that as what we call a customer service event. And literally we log all of them. So this allows us to do internal reporting, which is key for offering SLAs. Before, we had kind of rough estimates of our average response times and so on, but when we are asking people to pay us for a service level agreement, we have to be able to track that in how we're kind of fulfilling. So this is kind of a screenshot of one of our internal reports, and it's colorized based on how close they are to hitting their SLA, and it's segmented by all the agents. So that brings me into phone support. Phone support, again, is powered by Zendesk Voice, and I'm sorry for the capital D. But this is kind of interesting, because Zendesk Voice is powered by Twilio Client. And there's kind of, well, for most people this works great, and even for us this works great. Once again, our customer service representatives, our agents, they love Zendesk, and so they love using Zendesk Voice. Why go to a different product or a different portal just to do phone support? They allow it to have their headset plugged right into their computer, it's in the agent interface, and things work great. Over 99% of the time. But what if a customer calls about Twilio client issues? Since we, there is kind of a failover system that we put in place that was higher up. I'm actually forgetting one of the providers we use, but it's interesting. When you are the phone company and you get calls about the phone being down, how do you receive that call? And so we had to do a few clever things, and basically when we try to contact Zendesk Voice and Zendesk Voice doesn't respond because we're having some kind of issue, we fail over to basically a hard line. I mean, it happens to be a cell phone, but it's also what we do after hours when people aren't sitting at their terminal. So kind of what this allowed us to do was offer support on more channels, or all the channels. We have email. That was, of course, something that we had from the beginning. People can email in to support@twilio.com. We offered phone, which was brand new for us, and allowed us to leverage a product that was using us as a product, so it was win-win for dog fooding. We had our old web form where if you just went to twilio.com/help, there's a little form like, please help me. We, from the beginning, have always wanted to be easy to contact. There's the Zendesk interface, the support.twilio.com, which is our Zendesk instance, and then the new account portal interface. Then came a product called Multiuser. And this is where things got a little bit interesting. Now, a little bit of background about Multiuser. This is something that we've been working on for a while. Actually, I've been working on for quite a while. But this is my account. And this is my manage users interface, and more specifically, the add new user interface. And I'm allowed to invite people to my account. This is something that you could never do on Twilio. And this is, once again, great for the larger companies who you may have a boss, a CEO, whatever, open an account, go, yeah, we're going to use Twilio, and then they want to invite all their developers to it. Since they're not going to be the one writing the code, they just pay the bills. But they don't always want to pay the bills because they have a billing department. So we have this kind of concept of permissions, administrators, developers, billing managers, and we kind of redact certain parts of the site that you don't need. And when a lot of people in the billing department don't want to see scary things and codes and auth tokens and you name it. They just are there to see usage, pay bills, and collect reports, and kind of be done with it. The other side of this is that these are all my accounts, and I'm logged in as one user. And previously, people believed or didn't really care that there was a difference between a user and an account. They kind of treated it as one thing. It was like my Twilio account. Well, it's really my Twilio user and my Twilio account. And so I have many Twilio accounts. There's a lot of these for testing, but it gives you an idea of 8 accounts I have. And when we were originally designing the Zendesk data model, or I should say the data model that we use to map our information to Zendesk information, I was thinking, oh great, this is going to work perfectly because you can have many users in an organization, and they'll be able to share tickets if we want to or not. And for some reason I kind of overlooked the other case, which was that if I have many accounts, I cannot be a member of many organizations on the Zendesk side. So, did some brainstorming, actually got on the phone with Devaris, and we came up with a solution. Is it the best solution in the world? No, but it does work. And that was custom fields. So we defined some custom fields to store extra information we needed, which was the account SID, or basically the unique account identifier that we have on our end.